Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're going to talk just a little bit more about the MKS way of doing things. Let's watch the show intro. We'll see you in just a few seconds. I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem-solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
When you're online, of course, you're never going to please anybody, and when you put yourself out there doing a YouTube channel, you're going to hear criticism from all sides, and you're not doing things the right way to the way you're doing things. The average home user can't do it, and on and on and on. And I've always tried to be very clear that this is the way that I do it, and you can learn from it and apply it to yourself and go out and buy some tools or not. I try to show you ways to do things without using the tools and all of that stuff. So what I want to dive into today is just a little bit more of the philosophizing and philosophizing and stuff like that of my channel. And most of y'all probably will think I'm beating a dead horse. Maybe I am, but it's where my headspace is today, and I just wanted to have the conversation. The reason this is on my mind is because, as you have seen in a month past or so, I have gathered a whole bunch of materials for the Golden Mullet project, and I've started working on the blueprints, which I really haven't done much more on since then because I've been doing so many other things. But I've been starting to design the chassis table, at least in my mind, well, and on paper just a little bit. And now that I've seen it in person and have in my possession all of the materials and metals that I need to make that chassis table, now it's going from rough concept to more practical application on how to make the chassis table. Now, I know that there are a million different kinds of chassis tables and a million different ways to make things and all of that stuff. But in my mind, what I'm thinking is, how do I make this chassis table so that it doesn't take up a huge amount of shop space when this project is done, or a huge amount of storage space when this project is done, or become another yard ornament that we have to mow around, or, well, just stuff. And so I've been kind of thinking about a way to utilize how it's made and be able to bolt some things together and tack weld some things in place and make it pretty simple so that when all is said and done and the Golden Mullet is finally off the chassis table, we can just snip a couple tack welds, unbolt things, and break it down into bite-sized pieces, because this is
My Cars Shop.
Of course, I can already hear some of the critiques, criticisms, and so forth, but none of that is really kind of the point in the video. It's just kind of like the prelude or the foreplay or I don't know. It's just kind of like getting you to what I want to say. The hobby is yours. You've heard me say that 1,000 times. The hobby is yours to do the way that you want to do, right? We have 3 rules around MKS. Make it safe, and have fun. Make the end product safe, be safe doing it, and have fun while you're building the project. And other than that, who cares? Really, my shop, we have some basic tools, not much. Yes, it's more tools than some other people have, but it's up to you. I chose to spend the money on the tools instead of buying off-the-shelf parts. You've probably heard that story before, because I like to fabricate, etc., etc., etc. But I'm also using, in the old school hot rod method, I'm using the stuff I got. I'm using the stuff that I got for next to nothing. I'm using the stuff I get for nothing. And I'm using the stuff that I bought for pennies on the dollar. So we're going to make do and use the stuff that we have, rather than just leaving stuff sit around and not utilize it and then go out and spend a whole bunch more money that we really didn't need to spend because we already had stuff we could use. Now, of course, there are things that you're going to have to spend money on. It's inevitable. You got to buy tires. And in the case of the Golden Mullet, there are going to be some pretty big tires. Now, I'm fortunate that that's not going to hold me up from building the car, because I have a car with some pretty big tires and wheels on it already, and I can use those as reference wheels and tires for building the Golden Mullet. So that's cool. And I have suspension components, brake assemblies, and I got all kind of stuff I'm going to use because I'm doing it the old school way. And that's what I want to make very, very clear. The work that I do is not necessarily high tech. It's DIY. It's the home garage. It's old school hot rod. Okay, maybe I'm not building a 32 Ford hot rod. I'm building a 67 Plymouth hot rod. But the mentality is always the same. I fully admit that my mindset has changed a lot in the last 40 years. I used to drool over all of the catalogs, especially back in the days when I worked in the hot rod shop and we were building cars professionally and ordering everything we needed and putting in those cars together and welding things together and buying replacement parts and buying hot rod parts, buying chassis parts. You know, everything we did was order it. And it makes sense when you're doing it professionally. We've had that conversation before. So when I stepped into doing things on my own, I really started poring over catalogs like Alston Chassis and Chassis Engineering and JEGS, Summit, and all of those companies, because that's how you build a car. Well, slowly over time, my mindset started to change, and I realized I've got barn loads of parts. What can I use? What do I already have? How can I do things, I admit, sometimes on the cheap and in ways that are very, 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 very not recommended, and some ways that are middle of the road. And you know, it's taken me 40 years to kind of develop my philosophy and my approach to doing things out of the barn, the shop, wherever I've lived, at my car's shop. You can do that too, and I know many of you are a lot younger than me, and hopefully some of my thinking can inspire you to think a little differently. I mean, let's face it, everything's getting stupid expensive. Parts are getting hard to get. Some things you can't even get anymore. If we don't start thinking outside the box, many of us are just going to give up and walk away. So I want to encourage you, when you're looking at building your next car or continuing on with the one that you have, set aside all of your assumptions and just look at it objectively and say, what do I have? What would be fun to make? And then what would be best if I bought? It's a great way to look at it. You'll save yourself a ton of money. And in the process, you're going to stretch your skills, you're going to learn a lot, and you're probably going to save some money. All right, that's my thinking today for Talk About It Tuesday. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. Oh, we're over on the Face thing. Instant Grandma loves us. She gives us cookies and stuff. And of course, we're here on the youth thing. If you want to help the channel grow, share this stuff on all your social media platforms. Share it in the groups you're in. Share videos you like. Share the channel. Encourage your friends, your enemies, your fellow countrymen.
Even Martians, we don't care.
We'd like to see the channel keep growing and get more subs. All right, that'll do it. Oh, I forgot.
Rock!